You know, Parshat of the week speaks about current events. You know, if you have a book in front of you, it's Bamidbar 13, verse 17. Bamidbar 13, verse 17. Vayishtach oto Moshe lotur et haaretz. Moshe sent them lotur et haaretz. Marla, is that, you know Hebrew, right? You know Hebrew? Should have said l'ragel et haaretz. Moshe sent them to spy out the land. But it doesn't say that. Bamidbar 13, 17.
Yeah, I got it.
You see that? How do English translate that? Anybody? English?
Moshe sent them to spy out the land.
Spy out the land? Stop right there. Wrong. How do you say spy in Hebrew, Professor? L'ragel. Art Scroll doesn't know. They know Hebrew. It should have said, they say spy out the land?
Spy out the land of Canaan.
No, Lotur means to tour. Hello?
Where's Marshall?
Tour plus. Tour plus. Marla, you with me on this? Marla, this is your first time in Israel? Your first time. You're a tourist. Coinky dinky. And no coinky dinky that you brought her here. She's a tourist, and it says Lotur. But it should have said L'ragel, Shelley. It should have said L'ragel, Abraham. What's the message? The message is no matter how long you live in Israel, David, you should always feel like a tourist. I'm so excited. That enthusiasm shouldn't wear off. Like Marla's here the first time she's a tourist. I'm here 23 years. I should feel as excited as Marla is. But you have to fight to do that. That's what the Torah expects us. Lotur, in Eretz Yisrael, you always have to be on Torah plus. That enthusiasm, that excitement, Shirley, I know you have it. And that's what's demanded of us. Remember that song? I'm so excited. Lotur et haaretz. So Moshe sends them. It says again, where is the source that you daven at the tzaddik's grave? This week's Parshat, by Midbar 13:22, says they went up to the Neged, and he came to Hebron. Why? Who came to Hebron? Abraham. Kalev alone. Kalev alone went. He went to be mitpalel on the Kivrei Ovot. Marley, you have to go to Kivrei Ovot, like Kalev did. So this is the source that you go to a tzaddik's grave to be mispalel. You're not davening to the dead tzaddik. That's a wrong religion. You're davening to a Kodesh Baruch Hu in the schus of the tzaddik that's buried there. And that's what we learned from Kalev by going to the Morat HaMachpelah in order to be mitpalel. In order to be mitpalel. So how could these great people, how could they demoralize the Jewish people, and they discouraged us from making aliyah? They said, "Lo nuchal la'alot." We cannot make aliyah. We cannot make an aliyah. This is a land that devours you, spits you up, and chews you out. Is the other way around? Chews you up and spits you out. Take a look. That's what they say. By Midbar 13, verse 32. They brought forth evil talk on the land. By Midbar 13:32, it's a land that chews up its inhabitants. The Meraglim did not lie. And Kalev ben Yefuna didn't lie either. You know the story, Avram.
She's right.
You're right. You're right, and she's also right. Marla, it depends what you want to see over here. It depends what you're looking for. What do you want to see? The Meraglim, David, they focused on the glass being half empty. Kalev and Yefuna, they saw the same glass, but they focused on the glass what?
Full.
Half full. It's never going to be full till the Messiah comes, Marla. But in this great country, Kodesh Baruch Hu says, we have to be like Kalev and Yeshua. You got to accent the positive and not focus on the negative. That's the message over here. Now, they said wherever we go, we saw people dying. There was a plague.
That's right.
There was a plague. But they did not give God the benefit of the doubt, David. Why did God bring a plague at this time? Well, the FBI would be busy. What are these guys running around snooping here? The FBI. So God brought a plague on Canaan, so the FBI should be busy with what? With mass funerals. And not pay attention to these snoops.
That's it.
They did not give God the benefit of the doubt. Whatever God does, some tough love, it's all for the good. That they didn't see it that way. They did not give God the benefit of the doubt. Right? Kalev was not lying. The Meraglim weren't lying. What do you want to see here, Elisheva? What are you looking for?
The good
Powerful message, the goodness. Tell you a story, Rabbi Eliyahu Kitov. You heard of him? The great Eliyahu Kitov. You have his books, right, Avram? So what happened? This great Hasidic Rebbe came from Borough Park to visit him. It was a summer, and they're walking through the streets of Tel Aviv. And, in the summer, some ladies are not dressed properly. So the Hasidic Rebbe from Borough Park says to the Kitov, Feh, also ich bin ungeteen.
That's how you go dressed.
So he grabs him, Eliyahu grabs him, he says, what's the matter with you? Noch a mitzvah, noch a mitzvah, noch a mitzvah. What are you looking at? Put your eyeballs back in the socket. Every step you take is a mitzvah, Marla, not in Benjaminhurst or Sheepshead Bay. Only in Eretz Yisrael, every step that you take, you get noch a mitzvah.
You're taking a lot of steps.
Right? You're taking a lot of steps, onwards and upwards, Abraham. Yeah, but what are you looking at? What do you want to see? You want to be like the Meraglim, or you want to be like Kalev? And you saw the same thing the Meraglim saw, but they focused on the good here. There's so much good in this country, Shelley. I don't have to tell you. There's so much positive mitzvahs here. Why are you always focusing on the negative for? That's Meraglim talk. So that's what Eliyahu Kitov told the Rebbe from Borough Park. Now, who was the first double agent in history, Professor Chaya? Before 007 James Bond. They got everything from us. Rashi says that in this week's Parshat, Kalev ben Yefuna Avraham was the secret agent. He was a double agent. If you take a look at Bamidbar 14, verse 24, Bamidbar 14:24, God says about Kalev, he had a different spirit with him. 14:24. I wonder what page that is on.
807.
807:24. What different spirit? So Rashi says he felt one way, but he spoke another. He was the first double agent. He told the Meraglim, I'm with you guys. But in his heart, he remained loyal to Hashem. So he played a dangerous game, Kalev did. Kalev ben Yefuna, the double agent. With the Meraglim, he said, I'm on your side. Like Eli Cohen in Damascus, Avram, our man in Damascus, Eli Cohen. Right? Hashem should take revenge for his blood. So this was the first double agent, and therefore he was able to calm the people down to a certain degree, because they thought that he's with them. Now, it's just incredible. Verse 27. Bamidbar 14:27. How long, God says, will I tolerate this evil congregation? Edah. You see that? 14:27. Edah. The Talmud learned something amazing. Where do you learn that a minyan is 10, Marla? From the 10 wicked spies. Because there were 12, but 2 guys were good. Professor Chaya, so Rashi quotes the Chazal, Le'eda hara, who are the 10 wicked guys? Please close that. The Meraglim. From here you learn out that what? That a minyan is 10. You understand this, Margot? You have to go fishing to 10 wicked. Can't you go to 10 tzaddikim to look for a minyan?
Yeah.
What's going on? Says the Moralmi Prague. In order to find a minyan, you have to go fishing, Professor, the 10 wicked guys. The 10 wicked guys. Says the Moralmi Prague. What's the message? If you have 9 Shas guys in a room, can you say Kaddish? You have 9 Vilna Gaons in a room. Can you say Kaddish? No. You have 9 Moshe Rabbeinus in a room. Can you say Kaddish, Marla? If you have 10 Reform Jews in a room.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Say what?
It's a disgrace.
What's a disgrace? Chas v'shalom.
No,
9 Moshe Rabbeinus in a room, no Kaddish. Sorry, Charlie. 10 Reform Jews? Yiskadal v'yiskadash shemei rabbah. How much God loves when 10 Jews come together. Even if they're wicked, God is there. God is there. Even if they're wicked. So therefore, David, the source for a minyan is not 10 tzaddikim. It's 10 Rishayim, Meraglim.
in jail today they have the minyan.
That's right. That Daf Yomi is in jail. That's right. People become Talmid HaChachamim in jail.
Morale progs, they Dafka learned it up.
From here to teach that if you have 9 tzaddikim in a room, there's no Shekhinah. But 10 Yidden, even if they're wicked, like the Meraglim or Shelley, Yiskadal v'yiskadash shmei Rabbah.
Why though? Why?
Why? And therefore, we need a minion to sanctify God's name. Because the Meraglim made a terrible Chil Hashem. They slandered the Eretz Yisrael. You slander Ashkelon, it's like slandering God. I mean, you slander Pisgah Zev, like slandering God. So, that's a Chil Hashem. How do you fix a Chil Hashem? Kiddush Hashem, Yiskadal v'yiskadash shmei Rabbah. So therefore, we need a minion to be metaken the chet of Chil Hashem, the Kiddush Hashem. But since women, since women never sin with the Meraglim, Marla, you ladies never sin with the Meraglim. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So therefore, you ladies get the Shekhinah one-on-one. It's not that we don't use women for a minion. Women don't need a minion. They get the Shekhinah one-on-one. We need 10 guys to get the Shekhinah to be metaken the chet of the Meraglim, which were 10 for 10, Abraham. This is the Rabbeinu B'chai, not me. But since women never sin with the Meraglim, they have nothing to be metaken. So they don't need a minion. They get the Shekhinah one-on-one.
And before that?
And before what?
Before the minion of 10. The Menesh, the Shekhinah.
The Shekhinah one-on-one, right? But we sin with the chet of Meraglim. So therefore, to get the Shekhinah, we need 10 because the Meraglim drove the Shekhinah away. 10, Chil Hashem. 10, Kiddush Hashem. But ladies were not sinning with the Chet Meraglim. They have nothing to be metaken, right?
Right.
Masha, nothing to be metaken, right? If it ain't...
Rabbi Sprecher, what happened?
A lady can say Kaddish in the ladies section. Hello, Rabbi Soloveitchik Paskin, that Rabbi Moshe Feinstein, that if a woman wants, she can say Kaddish in the ladies, even though she doesn't have to. But if she wants to, when the men are saying Kaddish in the men's section, she could say Kaddish in the ladies section, even though she doesn't have to. Yes?
But she can't say it unless there's a minion or unless there's a man saying Kaddish.
Okay, but because she doesn't have to, right?
So,
Now,
Rabbi Sprecher,
yes, sir.
but I don't understand Maharal Prague. How do you explain that from 10 wicked people we learn? Why not learn it from 10 righteous people?
I answered the question. If you roll the tape, you'll get the answer, right? To prove that what? That even if the wicked, if 10 Jews come together right now, you get the Shekhinah.
You still get it.
Even the
Minimum
score.
congregation's 10, no matter what.
But the source is from wicked guys. Couldn't you get the source from Koilel guys in Lakewood?
Oh, yeah.
But no, that's the Moral's Chidush over here.
Even
That
after
HaKadosh Baruch Hu loves Yidden so much that when 10 Jews get together, even though they're wicked, and they say Kaddish, that's why you get the Shekhinah. So therefore it's the source for the 10 Rishoyim and not 10 Tzaddikim.
Such a deal.
So
Right?
you took the sin and you reversed it and made it into a mitzvah.
Beautiful.
Right.
Don't steal my thunder. That's coming up. Okay? The tikkun comes from the chet. We're going to get there. We're going to get there. Now, there's an amazing verse in Psalm 78. Tilam ayin ches. Now, keep in mind, in the Midbar, Marla, we had the Dan Quayle, we had the Be'er Shel Miriam, we had the magic clouds, the Amud Eish, the Amud Anan. They saw the Shekhinah on Moshe's face 40 years. Right, David? When he came down the mountain, when she comes, they saw the Shekhinah on his face 40 years, right? The best koilel in the world. Who's the Rosh Koilel? Moshe and Aaron. Better than that? Yet, Tilam Ayin Chet says, Vayichal Bahevel Yemehem. God ended their days in vanity. What kind of vanity? Avram Berkowitz, Moshe and Aaron, Amud Eish, Anane Kovod, Be'er Shel Miriam, Man, seeing the Shekhinah on Moshe's face every day. Yet Psalm 78 says it's all Hevel. How do you say Hevel in English? Why? Why? Because it's not Ashkelon. It's not Ashkelon. I mean, it's not Pisgah Zev, Marla. Isn't that incredible? You had to come to hear this. King David in Psalm 78 says, Vayichal Bahevel Yemehem. God ended their days in the Midbar with vanity. Why is it all vanity? Because they didn't get Eretz Yisrael despite being the best koilel. B'li Eretz Yisrael, even if you have a good koilel in Lakewood, in Crown Heights, King David says it's Hevel, Avram. Psalm 78. King David says, Vayichal b'hevel yameim. It's Psalm 78. Isn't that incredible? Now, what do you mean no? It's incredible. The Dor Hamidbar, Avram, the Dor Deya, they saw God face to face. It was the best of times, and it was, Avi?
The worst of times.
Could I repeat that? Why was it the best of times? They saw God face to face. They ate Dan quail, mun, magic Diet Coke and Pepsi from Iraq. They saw the Shekhinah every day on Moshe's face. Best. Why is the worst of times? Because there wasn't Ashkelon. I'm not saying this. King David is saying this. Avram Berkowitz in Psalm 78. King David is saying that. That's just pretty incredible. David, are you with me on this? That's just pretty incredible. Wow. It was the best of times, Avi. The worst of times, because Nebuch, they couldn't make it to Pisgat Zev. What would Moshe Rabbeinu give to be here? Wouldn't he give his right arm?
Yes.
The greatest human being of all time doesn't have the schus that I have. I should be jumping with joy to the world. I should appreciate that. Professor Chaya, do we appreciate it?
Yes.
We better.
We better, right? Pretty amazing, right?
We don't have it all.
We're getting there. We're getting there, right? We're on the road. We're on the road.
On the road again?
On the road again. Anybody remember Mayor Koch here? How am I doing? Mara, remember him? How am I doing? How am I doing? Mr. Seder, I remember Mr. Seder. The Rabbeinu Tam, Rashi's grandson, says, how do you know how you're doing in God's book? How do you know, Avram, how you're doing in God's book? How do you know if God is pleased with you? And what if you're getting an A in his report card? Says Rabbeinu Tam, if you have a schus to do a mitzvah that most Jews for some reason don't do that mitzvah, and you do that mitzvah, that the rest of the from Jews for some reason don't do that mitzvah, and you do it, that's a sign, says Rabbeinu Tam, that you're getting an A in God's report card.
Wow.
So few religious Jews make Aliyah. And we did make Aliyah. That's a sign, says Rabbeinu Tam, Rashi's grandson, that how am I doing in God's report card, Avram? A-okay. Right? For some reason, many religious Jews ignore this mitzvah, right? They remain in Borough Park. I mean in Teaneck. I mean in Lakewood. I mean in Crown Heights.
Miami.
Williamsburg, Miami. And we have the schus to be here. According to Rabbeinu Tam, Shelley and Masha, we are getting an A in God's report card.
That's good news.
Rabbeinu Tam, you need better than him? Rashi's grandson says that. Rashi's grandson says that. Aliyah. Why is it called Aliyah, Marla? Aliyah. Rav Kahana Zatzal would say that twice we use the word Aliyah. You get called up to the Torah. Ya'amod. Right? Aliyah. Can anybody come up? The Gabbai has to call you. God called us. We answered the call. He calls every Jew. But we had the schus to answer the call. We have to appreciate that we are special.
We special.
Because we live in Eretz Yisrael. Now, the Sfat Emet, who didn't make it here, says the problem with the Meraglim, they had Avram frume cheshbonot. How do you say that in Yiddish? Frume cheshbonos. Professor Chaya? Frume cheshbonos. How do you say that in English?
Religious reasons.
They had religious excuses. They said, the Zohar says this. Here, we have the Ananiya Kovod, magic clouds of glory. We have the man, donuts from heaven, better than Entenmann's. No. We have the Be'er Shel Miriam, better than Diet Coke and Pepsi. We come to Pisgat Zev, and we come to Ashkelon, no more man. You have to go to Angel's Bakery and wait online to get your... no more Be'er Shel Miriam, and no more Ananiya Kovod. So better to stay here in the Midbar. So the Sfat Emet says again, they did not give God the benefit of the doubt. Please hear me well. There are 3 mitzvot, David, that follow the Chet HaMaraglim. 3. Right after the Chet HaMaraglim, the Torah gives us 3 mitzvot. The mitzvah of Nisuch HaYayin. When you come to Eretz Yisrael, you should pour wine libations on the altar. In the Midbar, they brought Karbanos Yehuda, but they did not do Nisuch HaYayin. Nisuch HaYayin, the wine libations, that's only when you come to Ashkelon. Pisgat Zev. Nisuch HaYayin. Right after the Chet HaMaraglim, you have the mitzvah Nisuch HaYayin on the altar. Avram, please hear this. Then after that, you have the mitzvah of Challah. When you come to Ashkelon, you should do the mitzvah of Challah. In Chutz La'aretz, it's only a minhag, Marla. To separate Challah from your dough, in Chutz La'aretz, that's not a mitzvah, it's a minhag. The mitzvah is where, Avram? Where? Remote?
Practice.
Beautiful. And the third mitzvah is what? Tzitzis. Why Dafke David? These 3 mitzvahs follow the Chet HaMaraglim. Whenever a parsha follows each other, David, it has to have what?
Connection.
Not only connections. Hear me well. Raglan said, God, in Eretz Yisrael, we're not going to have any what? Any Be'er Shel Miriam. God says, you're right, you'll have something better. When you do Nisuch HaYayin on the Mizbeach in Eretz Yisrael, all the Diet Pepsi and Zero you drink will have the Kedusha of the Be'er Shel Miriam. Through the mitzvah of Nisuch HaYayin on the Mizbeach, which is only here, in Midbar they brought Karbanos Yehuda, but no Nisuch HaYayin. So through that mitzvah, you'll be sanctifying the Diet Sprite in Ashkelon.
This is not
1 minute.
This is not a drink offering, right? This is something different, right?
Every korban had to be brought by the Nisuch HaYayin.
Why?
In Eretz Yisrael, Amai used to pour wine on the altar. That accompanied the animals. So through that, you sanctify what? All the mitzvah novim that you drink in Eretz Yisrael. What else do they say? There's no man. You're right. In Pisgat Zev, there is no man. You have something better than man. What? When you separate challah from the dough, all of the food that you eat in Ashkelon has the kedusha of the man. You hear this? The Zohar said this. So every bagel you eat in Israel is a holy bagel. Yes, Professor Chaya. The Zohar says every bagel you eat in Israel is a holy bagel. Through the mitzvah of challah, you are infusing the bagel and all the bread with the kedusha of the what? Man. What else did I say, Avram? In Pisgat Zev, Ramot, there's no Anani Akovot. There's no Anani Akovot. They're right. There's something better. When you wrap yourself in your tzitzis, you're being hugged tighter by God than the Anani Akovot. The Anani Akovot was God's hug. When you wrap yourself in your talit, you're being hugged tighter than the Anani Akovot. Why is this better? Because the man, Marla, was a freebie. The Be'er Shel Miriam was a freebie. The Anani Akovot is a freebie. You keep getting welfare checks all the time. You feel like a nebish. But when I do the mitzvah of challah, when I do the mitzvah Nisuch HaYayin and wearing tzitzis, I am infusing the food and drink of Eretz Yisrael with the kedusha of the what? The man. I'm doing it. When I do it, it has more value. Because it's not a freebie, it's not a handout, it's not a welfare check. Because no one can do it my way. Da 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 da. So the next time you separate challah from your dough, or if you go to Holy Bagel, they do it for you. Have in mind, Marla, you're eating a holy bagel, literally a holy bagel. You're eating the kedusha of the man. And the Meraglim, they did not give God credit. They said God is taking away the gift. When God takes away a gift, it's true, sometimes he does. He replaces it with something better. You might not see it in this world, but that's a given. When God takes away a gift, he replaces it with something better. And the Meraglim couldn't see that, or didn't want to see that. So therefore, right after the Chet HaMaraglim, you have these 3 mitzvahs. Nisuch HaYayin, Avram, wine libation, the mitzvah of challah, and the mitzvah of what? The mitzvah of what? Of tzitzis. Now, women do not wear tzitzis. Women don't wear tefillin either. It's a time-bound mitzvah, Avram. Time-bound mitzvah. Women are potter from time-bound mitzvah. Why, Professor Chaya? Because osik b'mitzvah potter min ha-mitzvah. How do you say that in English?
one mitzvah is like the
Osik, if you're occupied in one mitzvah, you're potter from another. Women are always doing it. Taking care of their families is more important to God than putting on talis and tefillin, Shelley. So therefore, osik b'mitzvah, potter min mitzvah.
And they don't run after their heart or their eyes.
That's right. We need the props of talis and tefillin. We need the props of talis and tefillin to remind us that we are bonded to Him. And He's hugging us. You ladies don't need the props of talis and tefillin. You know you're bonded to Him. We need show and tell. The black boxes and the shawl. Ladies don't need the show and tell, David. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So a woman puts on talis and tefillin. What is she doing? She's degrading herself. Avram, you getting this? She's degrading herself. You ladies don't need the props. We need the props to remind us that we're being hugged by Hashem. But if you, ladies don't need it. So if she puts on talis and tefillin, she's actually degrading herself. People don't know that, never. But this is the idea over here. Now, Yosef mentioned something amazing. He mentioned something that he said that the chet comes from the tikkun comes from the chet. Let's go to the Haftorah. Amazing Haftorah. Yehuda, what page would that be? The book of Joshua. The book of Joshua. Joshua also sent spies. 39 years later, he also sent spies. Hello? The book of Joshua. The end of 1184. Joshua 2. Elishev, I don't get it. Didn't he see the disaster that happened? He brought disaster. So, didn't Yeshua learn from his Rebbe's mistake? Why does he also send spies? Hello? Rabbi, you hear the question on the table? The answer is, as Yosef said, I think he meant this, he had no choice. Once we sinned with spies, he had to fix it with spies. He had no choice. Since we sinned with spies, Abraham, Yeshua ben Nun had no choice but to send spies, because in Judaism, the way you sin is the way you repair the damage. How do I know that? Professor Chaya, in the Holy of Holies, there were golden statues. The lovebirds. Isn't that bizarre? In the Holy of Holies, God commands us to make golden lovebird statues in an erotic position. Kruvim. God needs golden statues? No, we need it. We sinned with a golden statue, didn't it? The golden calf disco. So God says, you like golden statues? Do it my way. Da-da-da-da. If there would be no golden calf, Sarah, there'd be no need for golden statues in the Holy of Holies to prove Him. But since we sinned with gold, therefore HaKadosh Baruch Hu says you have to make golden statues now, because you're still in a golden statue. So you see that throughout Judaism, that the way you sin is the way you repair the damage. So therefore, since the Jews sinned with spies, Yeshua ben Nun had no choice but to send spies to repair the damage. The tikkun comes from the chet. And this idea, now look at Pasuk 1. Anybody in English want to read that slowly? Margot, you have that? Or Abraham? Yeshua sent spies from Shittim.
Yeshua, son of Nun, dispatched from Shittim
Spies.
Secretly saying, go observe the land and Jericho.
Right.
So they traveled and came to the house of a woman innkeeper whose name...
No, don't fudge it. Doesn't say innkeeper in my book. It says harlot. Tell it like it is. Don't fudge it. It says Beit Isha Zonah. What's with Art Kroll? The PC there, Sarah. Come on. Zonah. She was a lady of the night. Lady in the night. Da-da. She was an Isha Zonah. Now, what are Haredi rabbis going to Beit Isha Zonah? These are two Haredi rabbis.
Bigger question.
He sent them to spy out the land and Jericho. Did they go to the land? They only went to Jericho. They only went to Jericho, Avram. But he sent them to spy out the land. That's why they went to Bet Isha Zonah. The Talmud Megillah says she was not ordinary Zonah. She only had royal clients. She was very, very particular. She was a madam, and she only had 31 kings of Canaan were her customers. She was Madam X, XXX, triple X. Now,
Was she Jewish?
no, of course she was. She was a Canaanite. 1 minute. So they knew, the spies went there because they knew when the kings would visit her, I think in English it's called pillow talk.
That's right.
Pillow talk. So they get the feedback. She had the pulse of the nation because all the kings would unburden themselves to her. So they knew that going to her is like going to the whole land. They don't have to go no further. She had her pulse on the hand of the nation because all the 31 kings of Canaan were her royal customers. Now this woman undergoes an amazing transformation. An amazing. A lady of the night, a pagan Canaanite, undergoes an amazing transformation. What a message of hope. You can go from the lowest of the low to the highest of the height. Yesh koinoi alamoy b'shoah achat, says the Talmud. A person can acquire his eternity, Avi, in 1 moment. This lady did that. All of a sudden she saw the light. She saw the light. And look what she says to them in verse 11. Look what she says to them in verse 11. Verse 11. Anybody? We have heard, our hearts have melted. No man can stand up. Hashem, your God, He is the God. B'shemayim imal v'al-aretz metachas. B'shemayim imal v'al-aretz metachas. Where's that phrase? Oleinu l'shabeach. We take it from the mouth of this harlot. 3 times a day, Marla. Isn't that bizarre? We pray her prayer 3 times a day. Look how Judaism doesn't discriminate. I don't care who you are. You could be a harlot. You come about tshuva, you start as a newborn baby. The Talmud says she converted to Judaism. And who married her? Yeshua ben Nun. Now the headlines in the JP was very... Chief Rabbi of Israel marries former Madame of Las Vegas. Very bizarre. Couldn't Yeshua ben Nun find a Beis Yaakov girl? He had to get a former go-go dancer from Jericho. What's the message? Judaism doesn't discriminate. I don't care what you did yesterday. What you do today matters. And the Talmud says Yeshua ben Nun married her, and she became the grandmother of Jeremiah. Jeremiah was a prophet. And Jeremiah would rebuke the Jews. Rebuke them strongly. Why are you going to that massage parlor? You know what they said to him? Who are you to talk? Your grandmother worked in a massage parlor. That's what they said to him. That's how they shamed him. Who are you to talk? Who your grandma was? Rochav Hazonah. You have no right to rebuke us. What? But she did tshuva. She turned her life around and became the first Rebbitzin of Israel. The first Rebbitzin of Israel, Yeshua ben Nun. The second greatest leader the Jewish people ever had was Yeshua ben Nun. And he married her, and they became the great-grandparents of Jeremiah, no less. And he was taunted by that. When he rebuked the Yidden, they said, Abba, who are you to talk to us? Who's your grandma? Madonna, plus, from Las Vegas. But he took those insults. That was a badge of honor from him. Yes, she was a go-go dancer in Jericho. And she became the great tzaddiket. And she was my grandmother. I'm a prophet of God. Now he was a prophet of God despite his grandmother, or perhaps what? Because of her. Who knows? Now, fasten your seatbelts for this. Verse 18. Verse 18. Anybody? These are the spies telling her, right? You save our lives, we're going to save you and your family.
Behold, when we come into the land, the scarlet cord shall you bind in the window from which you lured us, and your father and your mother and your brothers and all your father's household shall gather into the house.
They say, tie that red rope in the window. That red rope that you're using to save our lives, that red rope will be your what?
Lifeline.
Lifeline. The Hebrew says tikva. Look at the Hebrew Yudche. Hina nachten boim boret tikvat chut hashani. The Talmud says that this red rope she used for immoral purposes, because it wasn't nice for the kings to come through the front door to say that they're paying for sex. So the kings used to sneak in through the window in the red rope. That's where you get the red light district. I'm not joking. The red light district, the red rope. This is your tikva. You sinned with this red rope. Now this red rope will be your tikva. What does tikva mean? Your hope. You're saving our lives. You're changing your life by saving our lives. So this red rope that you used for immoral purposes, this will be your tikkun that comes from the chet. That's your tikva. Where there's life, Aram, there's tikva. Even for a pagan zonah, you can't get much lower than that. Every human being can do tshuva, no matter how low can you go, it don't matter. What a powerful message. Tikvat chut hashani. You see that, Shelley? Yudches, you don't have a book. Tikvat chut. This red rope will be your tikva that you use for immoral purposes. Now you're going to save our lives with it. And this will be your tikva to tshuva. And she became a righteous convert. And she married Yeshua ben Nun. That's pretty incredible. What a powerful Torah of tikva. Of tikva, that it's never too late. It's never too late to what? Never too late to do tshuva. Now, if you look at the tzitzis, the Parsha ends with the Parsha of tzitzis. The Parsha of tzitzit. The tzitzis are blue and white. Right? The Parsha of tzitzis, where's that? Is it by Midbar 15? By Midbar 15.
Page 817.
Page 817. Verse 37, 38, right? Tzitzis. The Parsha of tzitzis. Tzitzis is blue and white. Right?
Right.
Tchelet v'lavan. Tchelet v'lavan. Blue and white. What's God's favorite color, Marla? Blue and white. How do I know? Look at the heavens. It's blue and white. Remember Neil Armstrong on the moon? What did he see the earth? A blue and white ball. That's how God sees the earth. Blue and white ball. Kachol v'lavan. David, zetzeva sheli. Remember that song? Kachol v'lavan. I'm dating myself. Blue and white. The color of the tzitzit, the color of the Israeli flag. Those are God's favorite colors. Why blue and white? Why is the sky blue, Daddy? It's a reflection of God's kisei hakavod, which is what? Blue and white. You know what's blue and white, Abraham? God's kisei hakavod is blue and white. How do I know? I'm a text man. Let's go to the text. Can we go there? Let's go to the text. Good thing we have the books. Not everybody has the books, Kaval. If you take a look at Exodus 24. Exodus 24. Exodus 24, verse 10. Exodus 24:10. This is at Kabbalat Torah. The Jews, Marla, get a mystical vision of God. It says in 24:10, they beheld the God of Israel, and they saw underneath his throne Livnat HaSapir.
441.
Verse 10, Livnat HaSapir. What does sapir mean, Marla? Sapphire blue. What is Livnat? Lavan. Lavan. Livnat HaSapir. They saw God's throne was sapir is blue, sapphire. Remember sapphire, the kingfish? Yeah. And Livnat, Lavan, David, is white. That's why the skies, David, are blue and white. That's God. But you're looking at the sky, what are you looking at? God's throne of glory. Blue and white. Exodus 24:10 says that God's throne of glory is Livnat Sapir. Livnat Lavan Avram. You know Hebrew better than me. Livnat is Lavan, Sapir is blue. Why is that God's favorite color? Says the great Rav Soloveitchik something amazing. White is a symbol of clarity. When I see God's plan, When God is acting with tender love, it makes sense to me. That's the white in the tzitzis, the white in the sky. But sometimes God acts, off we go into the wild blue yonder. Blue is a symbol, professor, of the mysterious, the unknown, the unfathomable. God, what are you doing to me? It makes no sense. You took my 10-year-old child from me. Why did you do that? I don't know, but you did it. That's the blue. But the blue and the white are what, Shelley? They're tied together. It's all one. Whether I see him clear as day, as white, I understand why he's doing, but when he's giving me tough love and I don't understand it, it's as mysterious and unfathomable as the deep blue sky, but I acknowledge that it's all him. It's all one and the same. Whether it's tender love or, God forbid, tough love. What's tender love, David? The white strings. What's the tough love? The blue strings. But it's all what? Wound together. It's all one. It's all one. That's the message of tzitzis. Therefore, buy one, get 613. Jews love bargains. Right, Shelley? Buy one, get 613. Rashi said the gematria of the word tzitzis is how much? 600. 8 strings, 608, and 5 knots. What do you get? Bingo! Because if you get the message, it's not the magic, the blue and the white, whatever happens to you in life, whether it's white or blue. Whether it's white, good, chas v'shalom, blue. It's all him, it's all one. And he's controlling my life, whether blue or white. If I really believe that, that's the whole Torah in your pocket, Avram. Not hocus pocus. Kachol, but ladies, see, we need the physical props to remind us. You ladies know whatever happens to you is what? It's all the big boss. You know that. We need the props, Avraham. She don't. Because she has a bina yetera. Marla, you have a bina yetera. Like this pagan woman, this Rachav Hazonah. She saw more clearly than the great chief rabbis of Israel. The spies were the chief rabbis. You think they were slouches? They were chief rabbis. Their problem was they thought God's only in the big ticket items. God's concerned with the supernatural razzle-dazzle, splitting of the Red Sea, the quail, the mun. But in the nitty-gritty, God's in the nitty-gritty, he's too busy for that. But she knew better. Look what she says, this great woman. In Joshua 2, verse 11, I think it's 1084. Let's go back there. You got to see it inside. This great woman, what she says, Abraham, she used to be Madonna Plus. She became so great, Avram Berkowitz, despite her background, or perhaps what, Marla? Because of it. I'm saying if she wasn't a lady of the night, she never would have reached such heights of Kedusha. Maybe it's a radical statement, but that's what I'm saying. Because all of that guilt and shame propelled her to heights of spirituality she never would have reached without that guilt and shame. The guilt and the shame that she had, that was the cannon fodder. Not the fodder, the cannon fodder that propelled her to heights of Kedusha she wouldn't have reached. She wouldn't have had that shame and that guilt in the background. King David says that. King David said, if I wouldn't have sinned with Bathsheba, I never would have become the great King David. That shame and guilt propelled me to heights of Kedusha I never would have reached if I didn't sin. I would have coasted on cruise control. Right. Where was I? Look what this great lady says. Verse 11. Anybody? Abraham. She's speaking to the spies. Verse 11. Our hearts melted, and no man can stand up, because I know that God is b'shamayim mimal v'aretz mitachas. He is the God of heaven and the God on earth. He's not just in the supernatural heavenly matters. Every nitty-gritty thing that happens to me down here on earth, it's Him. She doesn't have to wear tzitzis. I need the tzitzis to remind me that. You ladies know that the same God that's in heaven is intimately involved if I have a good hair day or a bad hair day. If I miss the bus or someone insults me, don't blame the bus driver or the guy that cut in front of you in the line. Whose fault is it? It's all him. That's what the tzitzis mean, the blue and the white. Having a good day, a bad day. Someone upsets you, someone swindles you. They're just the UPS drivers, David. They're the messenger boys. It's all him. And if you believe that, that's a 613 in your pocket. So I need the blue and white to remind me. But the ladies don't need that. They know that. They know that. Without the props, Abraham of tzitzis.
Rabbi.
The same God above. Aloretz metachas. We say this her verse 3 times a day. Oleinu l'shabeach l'don. We're quoting. A lady of the night. Oh, that's incredible.
It's an Oleinu.
Rabbi.
It's an Eleinu. B'shamayim aloretz metachas. Don't you say in the Eleinu? B'shamayim the same. Hu Hashem Elokim. B'shamayim imal aloretz metachas. Oleinu l'shabeach l'don hakol. Who wrote the Aleinu prayer? Joshua. Who put the bee in his bonnet? His wife, the former harlot. Professor Hackett, Dr. Hackett, what's going on over here? Chazal said Yeshua ben Nun wrote Aleinu. Who inspired him? She's quoting his but she says that. Hashem Elohechem hu Elohim b'shamayim v'ma'al ha'aretz mitachas. Isn't that incredible? Yes, your turn.
Yeah,
I'm all ears.
When the Meraglim came back and gave the report,
Right?
weren't there people who tried to return back to Egypt?
They said, let's appoint a new captain and go back to Egypt. But they just said it.
But weren't there people killed in that process?
No, that's later on. Don't rush me. That's impossible, but you're rushing me. When Aaron HaKohen dies, 38 years after the Meraglim, Rashi quotes Chazal that part of the people they had a panic attack, because when Aaron died, the magic clouds dissipated, and the PLO attacked us, and the Jews panicked, and some of them actually went back a few stages, and Moshe sent the Levites to pursue them. There was actually a civil war. Remind me in Parshat Pinchas to tell you where Aaron's death is recorded, that Rashi quotes Yerushalmi that when Aaron died, part of the people panicked, and Moshe, they actually went a few stages back to Cairo. Moshe sent the Levites after them. Sarah, because a house divided against itself cannot stand. And there was actually a civil war. And there were casualties on both sides. Isn't it ironic that Aaron, the man of peace, his death sparked a civil war? Maybe it's a good idea for a talk. Aaron's death sparked a civil war. Avram, Rashi quotes the Yerushalmi in Parshat Pinchas that the death of Aaron sparked a civil war. Don't you see ironic? Aaron is the peacemaker. When he died, the Jews panicked because the magic clouds departed and the PLO attacked. Yes? Sunday we have a talk. Sunday's talk is called May a Cohen Join the Kiddush Club. There's a Kiddush Club. David, you know the Kiddush Club? If you're a Levi, so you're okay. But can anybody? But can a Cohen join the Kiddush Club, Marla? The Kiddush Club in the Young Israel? They're a Kiddush Club, yes? Any Kohanim there? But if they drink the Kiddush, they can't do Birchat Kohanim by Musaf. Right? Thank you very much. Shabbat Shalom.